Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is Brittany Larrabee, and today we're going to be talking about musculoskeletal health. So if musculoskeletal is kind of a handful or a mouthful to say, I get you. It's easy to get tongue-tied, but MSK is short for musculoskeletal. So welcome, welcome. So my name is Brittany Larrabee, as I mentioned. I'm a health and well-being consultant here at Vorslow. And just real quickly wanted to touch base on if you are interested in seeing what Vorslow has to offer from a health and well-being support standpoint, please reach out to your point of contact, and we would love to talk to you about how we can support you. Also, my colleague Crystal is in the background. She's managing the chat and the QA function. So please take care of that. If you have any questions, any comments that you want to make, we encourage you to participate in that way as well. Okay, so today we, as I mentioned, we're going to be talking about musculoskeletal health. I've broken it down into three categories. So we've got the musculoskeletal system, what that is, musculoskeletal disorders, as well as prevention and care, because, especially being in the health and well-being industry and just seeing everything that we see, prevention is always key, right? If you can maintain your health and keep yourself thriving, that's what we're aiming for. So the system. How does the musculoskeletal system work? What is the nervous system? And then let's chat a little bit about anatomy, because even though this is a kind of a big word, especially now, we're seeing more and more of our individuals and clients that we're working with experiencing higher and higher musculoskeletal claims. And a lot of this has to do with the fact that we're sitting so much. So it's a big issue for a lot of people. I know those aches and those pains, especially when you notice you didn't used to have them before. This is all going to get into what is the musculoskeletal system. So how does it work? This is a system that works together to support your body's weight and to help you move. It's quite simple when we actually think about it. So that consists of bones, cartilage, muscles, tendons, ligaments, and soft tissues. And the nervous system, which is your body's command center, controls the voluntary muscle movements, so the muscles that you control intentionally. And the nervous system, so your body's command center, what does this consist of? So we've got your brain and nerves, what we call the nervous system, sends a message to activate the voluntary muscles or your skeletal system. And then after that, the muscle fibers tense up, so they contract in response to the message that your brain and the nerves sent. And then when the muscle bunches up or they activate, it pulls on the tendon, and the tendons attach muscles to the bone, which causes the bone to move. Okay. And then to relax the muscle, your brain and nerves send another message, which triggers the muscles to relax. And then when you release the tension, the bone that was moving is then going back to a resting position. So these are all the parts in your body that make up that system. We're going to go a little bit into the anatomy. Skip that. We're not going to. Okay, and then when we go into musculoskeletal disorders, also known as MSB, we're going to talk a little bit about conditions and disorders. So we start off with what is the musculoskeletal system? See, it's easy to kind of mess up. So MSK, musculoskeletal, and MSB is musculoskeletal disorders. So that's what is made up our system is made up of. And now we're going to start looking into different conditions and disorders and then treatments. And then the main portion of what I'm going to focus on today is how do you maintain a healthy musculoskeletal system? And then what do we want to what does prevention and care look like going forward? Because we all want to be able to move around and do the things that we love with the people that we love, which is really what it comes down to. So that's what kind of the flow as we continue will look like. So we're going to start by watching a video in this section. So I'm going to share my screen. Okay, so real quick, how many people have been experiencing aches and pains? And you don't have to share specifics, but go ahead. Yeah, I see some raised hands. Exactly. So this is, I feel like even a few years ago, musculoskeletal conditions, we were talking about it, we were hearing about it, but it didn't mean as much. And now a lot more people are experiencing shifts in their bodies. And I personally, just from my conversations that I have, I think it has a lot to do with the fact that we're just sitting so much more. So it is really, really important for us to be aware of our bodies and notice, what does it feel like when it's healthy? What does it feel like when something's off? And those aches and those pains are our body's way of communicating with us. So it is important for us to listen and take notice. So you are not alone if you're feeling extra stiff these days. Oh, I see there was a. So yeah, conditions and disorders, things that can affect how your musculoskeletal system works, and different disorders, how you feel, things to consider and that affect that include aging, right? Which none of us can get away from that, which isn't a bad thing, right? Aging is an honor, it's a privilege. But along with that does come different aches and pains, arthritis, back problems, cancer, congenital abnormalities, disease, and injuries. So there's all sorts of disorders, but I didn't want to spend a majority of our time talking today about disorders and all the things that can go wrong, but really wanted to bring about an awareness around what what the system looks like, and then some disorders, but mostly focusing on how can we maintain and manage a healthy system. So before I move on, the main thing is, if you are noticing different aches and pains, if you think you might have a musculoskeletal disorder, I would definitely encourage you to reach out to your doctor and talk about that, and come up with a care plan or plan of care. Okay. So, and musculoskeletal disorders are, of course, things that affect the muscles, joints, tendons, ligaments, and nerves. And if that means that affects every movement that our body makes, that's a big deal. It can be caused by bodily reactions, so things like bending, climbing, crawling, overexertion, or repetitive motion. In fact, I'm sure we all have those instances where we went to go do such a little movement in such a kind of mundane, everyday type thing. And we've had that, like, where something tweaks, right? I've gone to go pick up cat food before, right? Just like a scoop of cat food, nothing heavy. And then all of a sudden my back feels weird and I'm walking funny for a couple days. So that's an example. And then, of course, depending on what type of industry you're in or what you do for work, work-related musculoskeletal disorders are definitely something you want to be aware of. And that's where the work environment and performance of work significantly contributes to the condition or the worsening of the musculoskeletal disorder or condition. Okay, so prevention and care. We'll talk about what a healthy musculoskeletal system actually looks like, what it feels like, and then we'll talk about different healthy habits and how that affects. And of course, if you have any questions, any concerns, if you're looking for any type of resources, even if we don't have answers for you today, we can certainly follow up with you. So definitely feel free to reach out privately. You can send a private message either to myself or Crystal, or put something in the Q&A. Okay, so with a healthy musculoskeletal system, you can experience increased mobility, dexterity, coordination, muscle strength, and endurance. And I'm actually going to share an example recently from my personal life. So as I mentioned, I've noticed some more aches and pains that I have experienced in quite some time. And I was walking around this weekend. I was visiting a friend in a city, and my low back was really starting to bother me. And I kind of played around with, engaging my core. And I really realized how little strength I have in my core. So I spent a majority of the day on Monday walking around. I think I got like 26,000 steps in, which is definitely not my norm. And I really focused on engaging my core muscles. And it was amazing because after all of that walking, typically my back would have killed me. And I actually had zero low back pain. So, a healthy musculoskeletal system, you have the strength and you have everything that you need so that you're not experiencing those aches and pains, because everything's working together to support you. So that was an eye opener for me, where I was like, I really need to find movements to engage my core more. So this is what the goal is. This is what we're looking for. And if you're not experiencing these things, then, there's definitely something to work towards. So none of this is going to blow your mind. None of this is going to be new, but I always think it's helpful to look at, various healthy habits that we're aware of, how they affect so many different aspects of our life. Just like we've talked about healthy eating, for example, healthy eating doesn't just affect weight. It also affects how you're sleeping and your energy levels, your productivity, right? It has such a long domino effect. So different habits to help support your musculoskeletal system, right? Your bones and your muscles and your ligaments and everything. We want to look at these 4 healthy habits. So of course, eating a balanced diet is key. The food that you eat is fueling and nourishing your whole body, including your musculoskeletal system. So it's really, really important. Maintaining a healthy weight, of course, this is super important, because when there is excessive weight on the body, it is putting more pressure on that musculoskeletal system. So finding what and working with your doctor to figure out what a healthy weight for you is, and then maintaining that a healthy weight, which of course, healthy diet, all of that contributes to. Moving regularly. So this was the one where I know I needed a bit of a a kick in the butt for. And doing so in a mix of making sure you're including cardio, you're including strength, including stretching. I know personally, I've had to add a lot more stretching in because I've noticed my flexibility has diminished. It's over time. So regular movement, and keep in mind, this does not need to be 1 hour or 2 hours of, at the gym or anything super intense. Walking, 30-minute walk, 10-minute walk here and there, whatever you can fit in to make sure that you're getting your blood moving, you're keeping your muscles and your whole musculoskeletal system limber. And then, of course, seeing your provider for checkups. This is really helpful too, because it's an opportunity for you to share with your primary care provider or PCP different things that you notice. So new aches and pains that are coming up, things that just feel kind of odd to your body, asking them questions, coming up with a care plan, to make sure that your body is healthy and that, you're moving in a way that is healthy for your body. It's also good, I don't have this on here, but, taking a look at especially if you have a desk job like I do, I know not everyone on the call does, looking at your work setup and seeing, are there ways that you can improve alignment so that your neck isn't constantly looking down. We call it ergonomics, but working with your employer to see if there's any ways that you can update your work setup so that it's supporting your body. Okay, so today was a short and sweet one, but I want to be here if you have any questions, any comments, anything that you learned today, which was super helpful. That would be great to know. But I'll hang around for a bit, and I appreciate your time. Thanks for joining us, and have a great day.